Now, could better weather forecasting methods in the lead up to the Auckland anniversary storm have saved lives? 4 people died as a result of the Auckland storm and 11 were injured during Cyclone Gabrielle. The 2 events caused more than $20 billion in damages. A MetService review has been critical of its performance during the Auckland anniversary storm, branding it poor. Former weather presenter Jim Hickey is with us to give us some insight into just how difficult it is to predict the future. Jim, good morning. Great to have you on our show.
Good morning, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Tell me, when you look at this report, when you see the sort of internal criticism of MetService and how they operated, particularly with the Auckland anniversary storm, do you have some sympathy with them? Is it really hard to get right?
Yeah, I do. I do have some sympathy, actually, because this was a really unusual storm, both in its tardiness and also in its haste. And if we think back, I recall watching the forecast a day or two earlier, and there was a tropical low coming down. There was a potential spoken on air about the possibility of heavy rain across the upper North Island, but of course, as it transpired, it was far more savage than that. What we had was a combination of 2 weather juggernauts that locked horns. There was a large anticyclone park just to the east of the South Island, and as we all know, they come with fine weather. They're a large bubble of stable air and stoic. They won't move for other weather systems. And then a former tropical cyclone came down into the Pacific with its entrails of warm air coming right out of the Pacific zone, so the tropical zone. It was packed with water vapour. So the low, instead of tracking across the top of the North Island as they traditionally do in these circumstances, the high blocked it. It was a classic blocking high situation. So this particular low stopped in situ, and it had an umbilical cord to the tropics. And of course, the warmer the air, the more water vapour it soaks up. So this thing brought down this incredible amount of water vapour, cooled it off with a little southerly flow flowing into the bottom of the low as it rotated near Auckland, and that just brought the precipitation down as the water reached its dew point, or the water vapour condensed to rain, and it stayed in situ, and it was fed. So it was a beast that fed itself. MetService did forecast some heavy rain for the area, but it happened so quickly. It was just a difficult scenario, and I think if we're going to appoint blame, which I'm not prepared to do, because there are so many things here. Where do we start? Do we start with the tropical Pacific forecasting zone? Do we look at the metropolis of Auckland and its safety programs or protocols around this? Do we go to MetService? Yeah, you know, there was a tardiness because the chain of command was kind of fractured. No one made a call, and that was the problem. But the weather system, it was a freak event, and Auckland, of course, had record amounts of rain unseen for decades.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think now that it has happened, is this how weather models work, that will be factored into the next weather model, making that a potential scenario for future, that we might be better prepared or better be able to predict that scenario or a similar one happening again?
Oh, I'm absolutely sure about that, because, you know, MetService being a government organisation, Auckland City under Wayne Brown, I think they've made commentary about how they needed to have a tighter connection system around their safety protocols. So I think that the emergency system is a big part of that. Whether people get blamed for everything, I still get asked about whether, when I go to the South Island, you know, I haven't been in the game for like 7 or 8 years, and people say to me, well, what's the weather doing today, Jim? And I say, oh, look, I don't know. They say, come on, you know what's going on. So you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. And, you know, I've been accused of ruining everything from hay crops through to weddings and al fresco dining at Waiheke Island. But people still talk to me. My stock response was, well, they're still paying me. So I took the money gratefully, yeah, and ran.
Hey, where do you, out of interest, who do you trust for your weather forecast?
Well, mostly I go to MetService. MetService has got a really good record, and the accuracy record over the decades that I was there was in excess of 95%. Now, when you look at the variability in New Zealand's weather, the funneling effect of Cook Strait, the crashing zone between highs and lows, the high, you know, disproportionately high mountains for the size of our country, it's a can of worms to try and forecast for accurately. What people do remember is the 5% of the time that it's wrong. And that's when the hammer comes down. Oh, you got it wrong last Thursday week, you know. The showers didn't come till the afternoon. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll try and tidy it up next time. So I've become a bit of an apologist.
Well, Jim, we can only say thank you for. I just felt like the only thing we were missing was a green screen behind you, and it would have felt just like old times. Jim Hickey, lovely to have you on our program. It's former weather presenter Jim Hickey.
Thanks for having me.
In New Plymouth.
Thank you.